because there's not going to be a lot of other chances to take a break this year. I already know there's like, DreamHack starts in just over a month with qualifiers, and then there's basically Starcraft. I mean, obviously DreamHack seasons are long. There's other events coming. Like, it's stacked. There's basically Starcraft for like weeks upon weeks upon weeks, probably like 3-4 months straight. It's pretty crazy. Bottom left, in the grand finals of ESL Open Cup number 66, it is Reynor taking on Team Liquid's Clem. In the top right hand side, new maps, of course, as we start about going on to 2,000 atmospheres. And get this one up and running. Get to see what's going to happen. This map's an interesting one. Not a huge rush distance, but definitely a large map in general. Definitely one where you'd imagine we're going to see a bit of a longer game. I can see these guys heading into the later stages if you don't manage to shut it down early or to get something done early or so. As Clem. If Clem can take an early lead, then maybe Reynor falls apart, but this is the kind of a map I can imagine Reynor falling behind on and getting back into the game with, because this is the sort of map where I think Lurkers can work very well, and you can play defensively and play from behind, and you have bases to work with and time to work with as well, so that's my little pre-game kind of info for you guys. SCV scouts on down. It's going to be seeing the hatchery first, so nothing too surprising there. So obviously it's good to scout, right? Because obviously hatchery first is not a guarantee in TVZ. But it is something that if you know about, life is that much better off for you. Now you don't have to worry about pool first, some of the roach all-ins that can't really happen off of a hatchery first, so already a bit of info. That's this Reaper come across the map cleanly as well, as our first two lings make their way down the ramp and out the front. This Reaper is going to come through to push, is going to come through, and the Lings are going to try and push it back. It's a bit of back and forth here as the Ling jumps on that Reaper. Queen coming in. Reaper is going to get turned around again. A couple command centers continue to build up at the moment from Clem, so all of that getting set up as a grenade goes down, pops the Queen away. Ling is taking a few more shots of damage, and the Reaper does escape out through that bottom side. Hope Apollo tells us what he meant by that tweet sometime soon. What tweet? Well, the tip of the iceberg tweet about the maps? Pretty sure you can put 2 and 2 together slowly. I think you've got this one. I believe in you. ZvT's on the way from Clem, so he's not messing around early. He's happy to just play a nice eco-focused game. Has Reynor already seen that with the Overlord? No, the Overlord's just way off over to the right-hand side for the moment. Reaper puts a few shots down, and that creep tumor is going to end up turning back away through the center. Wants to come back in, pops a couple of queens back, and the Reaper will escape back over to the right-hand side. Hellion joins up. A couple of Hellions are going to join up, and 2 more in production as well. So going to get up to 4 in total, as a few queens just going to hang around on the high ground there, and again the Reaper and the Hellion's going to come back around over to the left. I'm going to start dealing some damage. The Queen's going to push the Hellion and the Reaper away. I'm just going to be seeing our Raven is already coming through here from Clem as well. So getting that up and running. We've got a Marine coming through, taking down this Overlord. Tech Lab setting up on the barracks, and a Marine will just continue forward. So we're going to just hunt this down. Overlord is dead. So Overlord falls. There's a couple of these Hellions just about managed to escape away from the few Lings that were looking for the surround, so squeezing their way out of that one. We're going to come back around the bottom side here as Queen's going to fight the Hellions just a little bit. A little bit of damage being done then, just going to see our other couple of Hellions continuing through. Just going to see a couple of extra racks building from Clem as Starport's going to lift off, going to move over to that reactor. And again, the Hellions are just going to bring it back as well. So everything kind of just going very standard so far, right? Neither player's really taken big losses. Neither player's really lost much. Biggest kill of the game has been an Overlord, and, Clem wasn't doing anything to really do anything. Hey, You know, with this Raven, we can actually talk about people who make a Raven in TVZ. Someone's saying, why don't they do this? Like I said, it is kind of a niche build. You can use it. It's not always great. We'll see now what you get done with it. This auto turret comes down, helps against the queens. It's actually a pretty good use of it, and yeah, it's going to clean up a bit of creep. And that's so funny. We're just talking about how a Raven in TVZ is not usually seen, and yeah, like I say, you can use it sometimes. I don't think it's something you should go into every game, but you know what it is on this map that makes the Raven great is that there's so many pathways for the creep early in the game. Right, this is 6 minutes deep, and Reynor's already spreading creep middle, left, and right side. So what the Raven really does here is it does save you a lot of scans, as you probably have to scan more on this map than you do on other maps, and especially if you're in this position on this map where you're maybe unsure where the Zerg's going to try and expand to. If you can keep the creep back on both directions, it keeps your attacks later in the game open to both directions as well. So maybe that has, you know, something of a role to play in this as well. The auto turret comes down once more, and these queens are in trouble. Tell you what, Clem is getting a ton of damage. Know that he's obviously built a lot more Hellions than usual. He built 12 Hellions in total here, rather than what is a typical 8 at most. So that does delay his barracks production, that does delay the bio follow-up. It does give him a lot more pressure with the Hellions, though, and so far I'd say that's been absolutely paying off for him. I mean, at this stage, he's already killed 3 queens. He's lost 1 Hellion per queen killed so far, plus he's killed Lings on top of that and been denying creep. A lot of positives so far for Clem here in game number 1. Back's going to go over the left-hand side. A couple more creep team is going down. Just going to be seeing the queens coming back around. Marines are going to come on through, and the Overlord taking some damage. Just going to see the other Marines going to load back into the medevacs, and just going to see the Hellions back up the right-hand side. Armory's going to finish in the main base, so we do see the rest of this from Clem. Pushing down the right-hand side as we just go on through. Jumping in on top of a couple of these queens. The Marines to support this now. I'm a little worried for Reynor. He's got a lot of money in the bank. He has not got any way to spend it, honestly. He's he's playing just Ling Bane right now, but he's stacked up money as though he's about to start a freaking, like, 10 middle risks. This is problematic because these Hellions are still around as Hellbats as well, right? So they are just tanking a bunch of these initial shots. Clem is going to get pushed back initially, but obviously it's more than just right now. It's what does this allow Clem to do in the future as well, and honestly the answer is quite a bit because he still will have an army supply coming through. An army supply advantage coming through from here. Marines going to clean out the creep chambers and just going to be seeing the hatch on this bottom side in a bit of trouble. God damn it. Well, I'm sorry if you're watching this on YouTube. We had a bit of a meme stream today, and we changed the sub notification sound. So if you hear that, I can only apologize. It's just a one-day thing. It'll never happen again. Widowmine's firing as Clem continues to push on down his bottom side. Drone's already down. I mean, Clem is just monster moding his way through this. These Hellions did so much, right? The ability to kind of just do so much damage, pick off so many of the queens. And look at what Clem is set up to do right now. I mean, what is Reynor doing? He's on his way to Hive. Is he going to try and just get to Ultras? Clem's loaded up 3 Medevacs on the left, so even if he doesn't break on the right side right now, he's going to have the pressure on the left that's going to pull Reynor apart a little bit further too. I mean, Reynor is so good at surviving in these sort of situations. We've seen this, you know, from him against Clem many times before. We've seen our Marines unloading back over the right side. A couple units over here. Doing okay. The Widowmine's not really in the best of positions to help out, and that's a cool interaction. Reynor splits against the Widowmine, then puts it back. Don't know why he's sending Banes instead of Lings, but maybe just a little bit caught up. He is still trying to fight this drop off over here, losing out on Lings in that corner. I mean, a Lurker Den now on the way as the Hive is going to finish. I mean, it feels like that is way too late to realistically expect anything out of, right? I mean, Lurker Den's not going to be up for good. Lurkers aren't going to be up for a good another minute or so, right? Lurker Den, 57-second build time. Lurkers take 19 seconds to morph. There is no way you're going to get Lurkers up in this game. I don't believe it. Not even Reynor can buy that much time. Look how much Clem's got now, and Clem knows as well Now is the time to press on through with everything. Not just bringing kind of part your army here, part your army there. He's pressing with everything down this bottom side. You can also tell this is a game where Reynor's been under a lot of pressure because he hasn't had a single counterattack on the map. He's constantly been using everything to defend against Clem's attacks as Clem splits back, still has a decent amount of Marines here. Biggest issue right now for Reynor is if these Banes go down, there's no Banes on the follow-up to this. And so these Marines, if they can stay alive against these Lings, there is a few more Banes coming in. Now he's building Swarm Hosts? The what? That is absolutely the desperation play of the year so far. What? Swarm Hosts? I guess the idea is maybe you can hope that the Terran doesn't trade efficiently against them, takes a one bad fight, and maybe that efficiency can try and bring you back in this. There is no world in which I expected this to be Swarm Hosts. Oh my god, those Banes finish before the Widow Mine hits them, so you actually don't get the money back for the Cancellors, Reynor. He doesn't have enough. GG's called. And Clem is going to take game number. Top right side, our Blue Zerg player is Reynor. As we kick off into game number 2 of this series, he kind of got kind of pushed around a little bit by his opponent Clem in the last game, to put it simply. But it was also a situation where Clem opens a bit weird, right? 12 Hellions, the Rave, and that's kind of things that you don't expect so much for sure. Rack's gonna drop down the main base. As we get this one up and running. Son of Lord of Reynor is heading on down toward the bottom left as we get this set to go. Get this set to go. Up and ready to roll. What's with all the Pokemon? What, in my background? I just like Pokemon. I mean, most of my Starcraft stuff is on the shelves, right? So what's immediately behind me is most of my other kind of stuff, which is, I guess, primarily Pokemon. There's a few things behind me. You don't actually get to see everything behind me because my chair blocks some of it, but I just have, like, out of things I kind of collect, I kind of collect Blizzard things. Obviously, mostly Starcraft, some non-Starcraft stuff, and then Pokemon is the other stuff I like to collect, so there is a lot of Pokemon stuff behind me as well. Gonna have some switch-ups when we set up in the new studio. Don't know exactly what just yet, but gonna get things organized a little bit better and make things look a bit better in general. Just gonna have more space to put stuff as well in the studio at least, so should be able to make it look pretty cool. Sorry, I've just followed this Overlord straight across the map. I appreciate that. Let's follow this Reaper instead. Why no Squirtle? There's a Squirtle next door. There's just no space for it in here right now. I'm moving soon, so when I move, I don't want to unpack anything else when when I'm moving. So I'm trying to keep things packed away. Don't worry. A couple of months when we're in the new studio, it's gonna be crazy. Because you guys are gonna be like, "Well, Wardy, how do you have so much complete nonsense that you don't need?" I'll just be like, "I don't know. It's just life, innit?" Reaper up at the top, having a scout around, couple Ovies coming in, couple Queens on the way through. Just going to be seeing how Zerglin's speed is coming up on that Swamp Pool. They forgot to host with Game Hard. How dare they? Katowice champion can't even host the game with the right mod. As just going to see a couple things coming through. Grenade goes down. Jerome's taking a couple shots. And just going to see a few Lings continue to chase that Reaper. Is actually going to go low. Don't think you get out of there. Reaper in the corner. Going to go down. As Reynor with this fast lair opening. He's going to cancel it. So it's just a mind game. So Clem sees the fast lair. Now it's cancelled. So what are you going to do with that gas? Take a third hatch. And then what though? I guess you just double upgrade it, right? You double Evo chamber. Otherwise you're just going to start the lair again. At which point, why didn't you just let the lair continue? 100 minerals down the drain for what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just gonna start the lair again. That's just so interesting. It almost feels like is it just worth canceling it for, you know? Things up the top coming through. Queens are there, and just going to be seeing the Roach is building in the back here from Reynor. Let's see a couple of Evo Chambers going down there. Natural Expansion Extractors are going to finish up. Zergling's continuing the build, and the Roach is also completing here fairly soon, as and these couple of Evo Chambers still just coming out. Marines hanging around on the front as well. And just going to be seeing the Ling's going to run back up into the main base, so pretty good stuff all around so far. Is that double engineering bay coming through from Clem. Marines on the front, going to grab a Zergling as well. Just going to see additional Marines all coming out. Orbital Command is going to fly from Clem down to the low ground here, take that third base location. Out go our medevacs off across to the top side of the map, flying past an Overlord and yeah, getting up to the top, trying to take position here. Marines are going to unload and just going to be seeing the Creep Tumor. Perhaps in a bit of trouble. He's going to go down. Obviously, Clem just this nice fast Marine setup is going to be looking for some damage, right? I mean, he is on 3cc. Yeah, doesn't need to do too much, right? But stuff like this, cleaning out Creep Tumors is obviously very nice, and just going to see Clem creating a good bit of space around this right side, going to lift up and look for a drop off to the main base. He actually took a bunch of damage on this first medevac, which means you can't maybe be as aggressive as he was originally hoping for. Again, those 1-1 missile upgrades still coming through. The additional Roaches all building as well. Medevac's going to come right back across. Just unload, and I'm just going to wait it up, repair up his medevac, and get this ready to go. I want to really stress that he's repairing the medevac. I've seen so many people lately ask, why do Terrans never repair their units? And then, why do Terrans never repair their medevacs? Let this be known that Terran players do repair their units, and Terran players do repair their medevacs. Just want to make sure everyone just saw that, because I'm sick of answering this question saying they do, and the people are like, prove it. I'm like, well, yeah, sorry, I'll just dig through a game for when someone repaired something. Like, hello? Just go watch some TVZ. Now I'll know. Game 2, Clem Reynor, ESL 66 finals. 6:30 in the game, he repaired his medevac. This is gonna be my proof. now I'm gonna clip it. I'm gonna be like, here, boom, bang! Told you so. I'm coming around the right side. Obviously, this is a Roach setup from Reynor. 61 drones. Clem is not really meant to attack into this. He had a game recently against Rogue in the World Team League where he was also not meant to be... He had no idea that Rogue was setting up into like an aggressive Roach Ravager attack, and he completely just was unprepared for it. But he was able to be... The difference to that was he was at home for that. This is obviously a very different situation. He's going to try and fight up here. There's already units across the map, so he's saying maybe I can just win the fight on one side, which his Marines are going to make a pretty good attempt of. Tank on the high ground helping. It's a shame the other tank was sieged on the low ground, because if that was further back, it might have survived long enough to really make a difference. I mean, look how many shots this tank got done during this whole time. Clem's in a bit of trouble. He had no idea about this Roach style, huh? He had no idea. I mean, he's building a 4th base and everything. Reynor was essentially 3 base all in here, guys. No 2-2 upgrades, 61 drones. Like, you are looking to deal serious damage with this attack, and he has done just that right now, although Clem will get a good few Roaches there for pretty good value. He really wants to try and get this 4th CC to finish. Why? Obviously in this sort of situation, it's so close to finishing, it'd be a real shame to have to cancel it, but maybe we'll have to. Did the Corrosive Files just miss the tank? I think they did, so these Marines are going to stand strong for a little while longer. One more tank in the back here as well. Let's see where those Biles are landing. He misses the tank in the back. 4th CC does finish up. Ravagers are going down, and Clem is making a defense happen. I feel like Reynor messed up a lot of Biles and so on in this fight to allow Clem to make this happen. And now, with Clem having a 4th CC as well, Reynor might be in a bit of trouble, because if Clem does hold, he's got a 4th command center to build SCVs back on, and to just take and mine from eventually as well. That might not happen right away, because he's got a lot of space to cover against this Roach Ravager fight, but yeah, that's definitely a pretty big deal. A couple of Libs are going to siege up to try and deal with those Lings. The Ravagers don't even have good enough numbers to kill Libs right now. Misses another Bile, gotta say. There's definitely been some sloppy play there from Reynor. There's definitely been a few mistakes. Another good split. Just going to be seeing the Lib sieging and just going to have our tank pushing a bit further forward as well from Clem. So he's got a couple of tanks set up far forward now. This tank is going to get bowed down, but it does involve Reynor fighting into the next tank along. The Lib's going to try and siege up in on top of the Roach Ravager, dissuading it from continuing. Let's see if he can dodge with the Liberators away from the Biles as well. 63 to 47 army supply. Both players are on the way to 2-2. Reynor is slowly droning behind this, recognizing the necessity of moving into something different, as I'm just going to take the 4th command center and fly it out to the right side and take that base for now. He's actually going to take both bases. At the moment, Reynor was backing away. He's now going to send Libs across the map too, though, and try and harass with them. A lot of Queens came across the map, so there's only 3 Queens back at home. That does mean creep spread's going to be limited. It does mean there's going to be limited anti-air defense. Unfortunately for Clem, he walks right into 2 of the 3 Queens right as he makes his way in towards the base. And he finds the other one. That's all 3 Queens, and they've all found the Liberators. That's obviously good movement from Reynor. And unfortunate from Clem. If he'd split those Libs up, he would have had a much better time. Even so, coming out of this, the fact that Clem is even alive is somewhat miraculous, because he really was in trouble to begin with. Extra Marines and Marauders continuing forward here and just going to be joining up. I mean, Clem's now on 4 bases, essentially. And that is kind of terrifying for Reynor. I think what Reynor has achieved, though, is he's done enough to be able to set up into his hive, to get the Hydra Den finished, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's definitely a big positive. Going to see Ravages coming through, biling down the Liberator. Misses 2 shots again. Yeah, you can see Reynor's a little rusty right around the edges. He's looked good all day, but like I said, Clem was going to be the real test of how in shape he is, right? And you know, now you're starting to see a little bit more struggle here for Reynor as he goes into Vipers and Lurkers, and this might turn into a bit of a longer game, but I'm not sure you want to play a bit of a longer game against Clem if you're taking some sloppy fights like this. These tanks don't really want to be out here in the fight at all, as Clem is going to have 1 tank sieging and split the others, siege them up, and he's going to stem forward now and meet the Roach Ravager. Roach is actually going to take a volley from the tanks as well. Clem gets a lot of units in the chase. The big issue for Reynor going into Lurkers is that Clem actually has a pretty reasonable tank count, and if these tanks are in a good position, they can actually make it so the Lurker count initially doesn't really matter. Like, if you're up against like 5 or 6 Lurkers at first, a tank count like this can just stop them from doing anything. So I'm not 100% convinced about the Lurkers just yet. Of course, there are Vipers to help nullify the effectiveness of those tanks, as Clem now going to try and make his way around the right side here and try and deny the 5th base, which he should be able to do. I don't see what Reynor can do to fight into this. Well, I guess the answer is the Vipers, right? The Vipers are going to be his way to try and take a better fight here. There's 1 tank in the back that's still unclouded. The others are going to get out of that blinding cloud as well, and they will be able to fire a few more shots off. Clem taking a supply lead momentarily in this. Of course, it's still good to know when to lift up and to get out of there. Reynor does start a big round of reinforcements, which features the Hydras, which we've just been talking about, and their potential transition into Lurkers, but they're not here right now as Clem's reinforcements are, and he stems in on top of this, diving through a bunch of corrosive vials and taking a lot of damage in the process. He does get through, and he does clean up a whole chunk. He's looking to get back on this base. He sees the Vipers right now. They're a target, right? Oh, he's just going to go for the Queens. I thought he might dive on the Vipers. A couple of parasitic bombs and medevacs will immediately split out. Good catch from Clem, knowing exactly which ones are targeted. And still pushing up over here. Is that just Overlords on the other side? It is. Just wondering if there's some units about to counterattack or so. But they're pretty slow moving, so... And there's not really many Ravagers left, so not a lot of Biles to get rid of tanks. There's just about 3 there to get rid of this forward tank. Because Clem's still pushing into this. His tank can't reset. Here come the Lurkers, and that might just make the difference. But is it too late? Army supply in Clem's favor as he's going to get rid of this hatchery, and I think then he might just back it up a little bit and wait for his tank count to regrow. He's also going to start the Ghost Academy as he takes his own 5th base to the bottom right. Already finished the command center. It's just been floating over. So it's going to morph into a planetary. He's going to get 5 bases up and running. And now it's a question of can Reynor maybe take advantage of everything else here, as Clem should be able to get out of here as well. Splits up. Medevac's taking a lot of splash damage off the parasitic bombs. And Clem is still looking to fight, huh? Alright, well, that's Clem for you. He loves to be aggressive, right? He really does love this kind of style of play. And even when some Terrans maybe should back away and not fight, Clem makes it look like sometimes you can actually always fight, right? As I'm still not convinced about diving into those Lurkers, but yeah, I actually feel like that's maybe not a bad call, because that was not great. And he's going to lose these tanks as well. Of course, part of the issue was he rallied 2 tanks down that ramp without sieging them. And then you lose the support for the tank. So that's Clem kind of feeling like there was an opportunity that wasn't actually there. Well, we get ourselves settled down deeply into this game number 2 now, as a couple more lurkers going to be finishing up. The Lingroach Ravager all joining together, and again another round of lurkers on the way in. Oh, we have Reynor works its way around the right hand side. Just going to be seeing additional lurkers continuing up at the moment. Marines, Marauders, and tanks all coming through. Lurkers just going to keep on morphing. I mean, this is the sort of situation where Clem's meant to have a higher tank count, but he lost some of them pretty haphazardly, as mentioned, and that's where it's going to be a bit harder to get rid of these lurkers. They get a good siege up there right on top of these couple of tanks. Now the tank's going to get abducted in too, and this is the kind of way in which Reynor might win this. The only issue I have for Reynor is that he really is just on these lurkers, right? There's really not a lot else to go along with this, as he is going to maybe get rid of this left side base, though. That might just be the issue for Clem. He's currently just sniping lurkers from afar. Clem's going to lose this left side base, and that's definitely a little bit problematic. We're going to run into this fight. Again, the lurkers are on their own, but Clem doesn't have enough to push through it, and that one move from Clem where he ran into those lurkers, I feel like gave up what was honestly like a very... I know this game was kind of weird in general, but I actually feel like Clem was doing a really good job. But what he lost over here for those lurkers was just not worthwhile. And especially because he then just does not have the tank count to really protect against the lurkers from just pushing him into him anymore. And that's purely because he ran down this ramp, he moved commanded tanks through an army, and then he left the other tanks that were sieged alone because he lost all the bio. I think that move right there is the game ender. And Reynor has capitalized on it beautifully, as it looks as though we are going to tie up 1-1 in this series. A few snipes coming down on Hydras, the Ling's trying to run on in. Lurkers are just going to burrow up, a couple more snipes going down. Lurkers taking additional damage and just going to be going in for the Planetary Fortress. Tank taking a few shots as well. Planetary is still just about alive. Tanks are trying to reposition a little bit. Some good volleys going off. The Lurkers taking damage, and we do have all of those Lurkers being killed off right now. Pushing in, going to clean out this Lurker on the right side. Missed him up to the top side where we're going to catch Lurker, Roach, and Hydras. I'm surviving. Army supplies are pretty similar, but Reynor just has an economy that is unrivaled compared to what Clem is working with. So unless Clem can do something with this army supply, which in fairness, I mean, Reynor's army supply is not only just similar to Clem's, but it's also not great right now. This one Viper goes down, so now there's no Vipers in play. The lurker count's about to get back up, and that's one thing that's obviously going to help a lot. As Clem keeps on pushing up this right-hand side. Well, I was calling this game in Reynor's favor, but well, he's still in a lead. Clem maybe still has something to hope on. The biggest question for Clem is going to be, can he survive all of these Lings? Because those Lings are going to be deadly if they get the chance. So here we go. Reynor's actually going to move forward. A lot of Lings on the left side. Like I say, they are just not really... There's nothing to really deal with those properly at all. Not really a proper amount of bio, as tanks have been targeting, find whatever possible. Medevac's in the end, lift up and leave. Clem comes out of this down 10 army supply. It ain't bad. He's maybe going to have to fight right now, though, as these lurkers get set up. He's got a couple snipes for the lurkers. He does. He's got a bunch of them right away. He's going to push on forward, and the last couple lurkers will go down, too. It wasn't cheap. He actually had to run into lurker fire a little bit to make this happen. And, of course, the biggest issue is that Clem is just pinned back on these bottom side bases. You know, Reynor is out here taking Clem's side of the map in the meantime, so that's the one thing Clem doesn't have any control over. He's got no map control on the map. Obviously going to come through and siege up a little bit on top of these couple mineral lines. Just going to see a ghost at the front end, a little bit of trouble. Kind of baits the Lings in the end, and the ghost does go down, but well, I felt like these Lings are going to go down a lot faster than that as well. I guess they did have better numbers. Clem is just losing out. He's trying to take a 5th base as an orbital, though, right? So also going to be fairly exposed. We're just going to be seeing SCVs trying to repair this location up. Not sure you can really hold this position any longer. A couple snipes coming down, and Like I say, you're just about keeping it alive. These ghosts need to go back up to the high ground. They could have sniped from the high ground. They would have had 3 kills. Clem was just not paying attention. It's been a couple times that obviously he's been kind of stretched to his limit and he's not been able to properly put units in the right place. He's not been able to properly control them and he's made mistakes. Allowing his opponent, Reynor, to capitalize. I actually feel like a lot of this game was more so Reynor just capitalized. Like mistakes I feel like have dominated this game. And that feels weird, but I feel like most of them, a lot of these guys making really cool moves and really good moves, it's been a lot of them capitalizing on the mistakes of their opponents. Because a lot of the reason Clem survived in this game to begin with was because Reynor had some horrible biles that missed a lot of units, and those were mistakes that let Clem live. And then Clem looked as though he's getting into a great position, and it was the mistake he made over here that gave Reynor all of this momentum back in the game. And not to take away that, obviously, they are making good plays as well, right? But I feel like the mistakes have been, usually in a game of Reynor versus Clem, you can't point out the mistakes as easily, whereas this time it's very clear. But quite a few of these mistakes happened as right now. I think there's just lurkers in too many places, and Clem is going to end up losing this game number 2 as Reynor is going to take it down. Ties us up 1-1 inside the map. With the blue Zerg player making that Roach style work. It was a much tougher game than I think it should have been. I think he should have run off that Roach attack initially because he had his opponent caught completely unawares. Reynor, our blue Zerg, bottom right-hand side, is up against the red Terran. It is Team Liquid's Clem in the top left-hand side of things. Alright, kicking this off as we get this underway. Game number 3. Just going to see the OV from Reynor is heading out across the map to get us started. Hatch, gas, and spawning pool all coming in as we get this ready to roll. Drone going to pop out. Going to go into that extractor here in a few moments' time. Couple of drones going to rally out into this. Pretty standard though. Again, it is light shade and it's one of the maps the Zergs obviously usually prefer to play. So it's definitely been kind of Reynor's map pick, Clem's map pick, Reynor's map pick so far. Reynor, Clem generally going to be the one that picks up on Oxide. Interested to see what this game looks like because I know this is like, I always hate it when I'm like critical of players, and especially people like Reynor and Clem, because who am I to be critical about players? But, that was not the best game from Reynor. At the end of the day, he made mistakes that made that game way more difficult than it needed to be. And he got, initially he was very far ahead because of the fact he was going for this Roach Ravage attack that caught Clem completely off guard. And okay, in the end, he definitely got back into it, and he did the right things to get back into the game as well. I don't disagree. But if Clem gets off to a start which is on a bit more of an even footing, then is Reynor just in a lot of trouble? Because if he micros and controls the way he did at the start of that last game, he ain't gonna have a good time. Like, his Ravager bar's missing and stuff. I mean, obviously, maybe you just don't play Ravagers and that looks very differently, but just like I say, just things to keep in mind. And as you just see the Reaper. And then turning back around the natural, just gonna be seeing our couple lings looking to get a bit more done. Creep Tumor going down on the natural there as well. As the Reaper's going to come back around into the center hatchery of Reynor. Coming up down on the bottom side on the third base location. Couple of additional drones coming through. And the link speed starting up right now as well as that Reaper comes out over to the right. And it's getting set to go. Which units do bonus damage to Ravagers in a TVZ? Nothing, right? Ravagers are just plain old normal. They're just biological, right, I guess. I believe. I don't think there's any auto attacks that does bonus damage to biological, though, right? Unless I'm just being really dumb. I'm pretty sure nothing at all. I always hate it when I get put on the spot with these questions. Because, like, I'm pretty confident about what I'm saying, but then, like, what if there's one thing I'm forgetting, and then chat's gonna make fun of me forever? It's actually kind of funny, because you could argue it both ways. Because Ravagers not having an armor tag Losing that armor tag when they go to Ravager means that Marauders aren't as good against them. Now, obviously, it means that Marines obviously do better against them, but typically you want the Marauders to kind of deal with the Roaches, so it's kind of a weird... It makes the composition pretty interesting, you know? We're seeing the Reaper and a few Hellions backing away up the left as the Medevac shows up. There's an armory down. This is going to be a Hellbat attack as Reynor's preparation for this is non-existent. The fact that Queens were even off creep is obviously even worse for him. As a few SCVs going down across the map, though. It's a nice little counter. Any SCVs in a situation like this is generally good for you. And I mean, already these drones backing away. It's a lot of lost mine time. That's very good for you as well. This Medevac goes down pretty early on, though. And the Medevac going down does create a situation where you just don't have the healing to maintain this attack for too much longer. The drones maybe getting a little bit too excited to get back to mining as they move back very early on. And Reynor is going to turn this Hellbat attack around. Cloak and Banshees continue to come on up. A couple of creep tumors going to spread out over on the left-hand side. Hellions and a Reaper going to go running up the left. Command Center building in the front here and just going to be seeing the other Hellions coming up to the top. So all of these joining up together. As our Banshee of Clem makes its way out across the right-hand side. It's set on up and ready to go. Stim pack just coming through. Banshee coming in. Archons do damage to bonus, but yeah, okay, congratulations guys. Welcome to TVZ. Let's see an Archon in TVZ. Oh, did I say nothing does bonus damage to biological? I kind of meant in TVZ. Spores do bonus. Yeah, Spores is actually a good call. Spores. That was the anti-muta buff. Yeah, the Archons do, but that's about it. It's kind of a weird armor tag biological, isn't it? Hellions coming through and getting rid of some extra lings. Gonna come back around down the bottom side. We do see the Banshees do go back up the right. They've been deflected pretty easily as well, so 0 gain from Clem right here. As Reynor defends. As Reynor is so good at putting out these defenses and into those late stages of the game. Banshee's back way up through the top. A few Hellions are going to come around in the center. And just kind of still cruising around, past over the creep spread and all that kind of stuff. See now Spire is continuing through here from Reynor on the bottom right. And as the Hellions show up again, we do see a creep tumor going to get taken down. Army continues to push in through the center of the map. So here comes Clem, but he needs those upgrades to finish up. They're about 20 seconds away, so the fight before those upgrades for Reynor would be fantastic because he is set up on 1-1 and Clem is already adventuring through onto creep. I'm getting the feeling that this is a fight that Clem just disengages from anyway, right? Like, I don't think he sticks around in this in any situation. Loses some low ground units, but the tank gets some good damage off on Balins and so on, so I don't think anyone is really too upset with how this went. Reynor's alive. Clem kept most of his army alive. Clem still has this tank siege up here. Nice pullback on those Banes, by the way. Clem's tank was trying to target fight them, and they ran back out of range. Nice way to save a couple of additional Banelings as our Medevacs pull back up to the upper left-hand side. We do have extra racks down on the third base, so just setting those up, getting tech labs and reactors going on them. And this is just going to be 8 racks and non-stop pressure here from Clem. He's just going to go and keep on going, right? As you see Clem, he loves to do this when he feels the opportunity is there. I mean, to be fair, the way he's traded so far, I definitely don't see why he won't get away with it initially, because right now, Reynor has been, he's been taking the right trades to be able to continue fighting. He's not really giving up anything too important. He lost one tank this game. That's really been about it. Brings out the left, just going to push the Overlord back. Lings and Banes coming through the center. ZvT's Bane's coming back through, so Ling Bane's still kind of rolling forward here. You have Muta's going to go up the left-hand side, and I'm going to be able to counterattack in. Clem does not have preparation for these Mutas at all, so it's a little bit problematic. It's really nice for Reynor to get in and to do damage with these Mutas. This really slows down the power of Clem's upcoming attack, right? Any damage done now gonna make that follow-up that much worse as 2-2 is about to kick in, so it is time for Clem to go again. He actually built a fourth base behind this, which is meaning that he can transition a little bit if he feels the need to, which he probably does. I don't think there's a game-winning push left in him at this stage, looking at how Reynor is set up with the creep spread and all the rest of it. He's got a good surround on this position down here, so while there's not creep down there, he can come in from 2-3 angles, and it's going to make it very hard to fight. And up to the high ground, Marine's going to be in a bit of trouble. The rest of the Ling Bane setting up. Muta's still off down on the bottom right-hand side. Ling Bane army continue to figure out what it wants to do. The Queens are going to start pushing forward here as Reynor tries to attack on in, loses one Queen, the other Queen's in some trouble, and on the counter-attack, Ling Bane shows up. Now, Clem dealing with this pretty well initially. Let's see how the rest of the bio units do, though. They're starting to fall. And that's going to be the bit of the problem here for Clem. If he doesn't have anything left to defend this, I think he'll turn it around, but I mean, those are units he's been, he's using to defend that now are not part of this attack. I mean, obviously you can say the same about Reynor, but Reynor's also remaxing up on Lings that build very quickly. You're going to get back into this real quick. Queens and Marauders still trying to push their way through these Queens. Here we go, Ling Bane going to run on forwards here, going to run down, going to enter into this siege tank warfare, and honestly, a lot of these tanks went down very quickly, and Clem, is he going to be able to get enough done with this? He stims again to chase down these units. Baneling count is still reasonable. It's good enough to buy time for the next round of Banelings. Clem gets a lot of Lings, it feels like, for free right there. His army supply is up, but his worker count is down. As he takes a fourth base, I mean, it's mostly just a case of replacing SCVs from the main that can't mine anymore onto a fresher location. A few of these Queens getting caught. Clem doesn't stim to take advantage, though. He's just happy to have pushed himself up this ramp to give himself a bit of a better position to fight from. Now Reynor has much less of a surrounding potential. I guess he can still come from down here and kind of up here, but it's much less influential than it was before, I would say, when you could come down here and up here very quickly. So Clem is going to start clearing out bases. That's a big deal. A couple of libs here are going to be the primary targets. Reynor is straight in on those with the Mutas. That's 2 libs going down. Clem can't do anything about it. He will clean up the upper right-hand side as he goes. And the Mutas are going to end up diving into this main base. Grabs a missile turret here as well. And Reynor going to keep on going in after the rest of these SCVs. Now down to the low ground. Going to go for a couple more drones. Well, again, SCVs and drones dropping down. I mean, obviously, Reynor is maybe a bit more expendable in that regard. He obviously has more drones to work with to begin with. Clem is on the way to 3-3, but Reynor's on the way to Ultras. I mean, both players, I mean, 3-3 is going to be great for Clem. Will improve these fights, massively, but Ultras are going to put Clem in a position where, how the hell does he fight Ultras? I mean, he's got a few Marauders in his army, and that's about it. Muta's on the other side of the map. Just don't tell me they can't kill this turret. Wow. They cannot. Maybe now as Clem is not paying attention to it anymore. He lost the full surround, but the Marines are going to stim in. There's a fight happening at the same time on the other side. Those Marines stimmed in, they kill a bunch of the Mutalists, so the Muta count's taking heavy hits. Clem is still pressuring over on this side. He's got tanks freaking everywhere, but the first Ultras are arriving on the map. And with the first Ultras, I do feel becomes the real stopping of this Clem army. Unless he can fight without them having chitinous plating, and then maybe he has a chance to fight them a little bit. Tanks trying to siege up in the front now. These Lings and Banes are just going to run on through. That Marine forces around the bottom side. I mean, the tanks are so well spread out that there's a lot of damage being done onto the army of Reynor as he moves in for that cleanup. I'm still just terrified about the Ultras, because I think as they pop up, Clem is going to realize he's not really meant to be fighting this army anymore. He's losing STVs. The Mutas are still going across the map. No turret over there. And Clem is out of here, as Reynor is going to take the 2-1 lead. Bottom left is going to be the blue Zerg in the match point position. It is Reynor in the bottom left-hand side of the map. In the bottom right, our red Terran is Team Liquid's Clem. So get this one up and ready to a rumble. Could be a final map of the day. Good old 6 hours on the ESL Open Cup. Always a good bit of fun, isn't it? Blackburn, a very fun map. I genuinely think this map can be really awesome for TVZ. I think Terrans are going to expand here and push and push and push, but the Zergs can just expand away from the Terrans, and that's the real power of this map, until it gets to the point where, you know, a fifth base becomes a little bit harder. Do you take the gold that's exposed from the back, or do you take this forward base? Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see Blackburn play out over the next little while. See what really comes out of it. So Reaper starts up, SCV moves down, heading onto the map. Across over to the far left-hand side. Yo, Sterngard, thank you so much for the $10 donation. It says no donations today. Here's my contribution to start with. Hey, thank you so much for the $10. I appreciate it. It's been a quiet day. We had like a 20 sub bomb. It's one of those days where, despite we actually did pretty okay on subs today, but the sub counter has just been against us, right? Where it's like, you know, every time someone subs, like 2 subs fall off, it feels like. You know, we started the day with I think like 1270, like 1282 now, but we're also back up to 1300 at one point. And obviously yesterday we had like 1350, so it's been one of those days. Some subs dropping off. I mean, we expected it. We knew it was coming. I actually thought it had already happened, actually, but yeah, I thought it had already happened, but apparently I'd misjudged the days. My bad. Doesn't really make a difference anyway. 3CC again here from Clem. Going away from the aggressive start. Don't think that Hellbat attack necessarily did all that much for him last time around. Yeah, we're just out and about, having a look to see what's going on. I was going to see this Reaper taking a little bit of damage. A couple of Hellions are coming in behind it as well. They're just going to join up with the Reaper here as the Queen side at the front. Just going to see some of these Creep Tumors pressing forward. I do have the Lair building in the main base right now. So Lair just coming up over in the main, and a couple of Hellions continuing across. All these drones going to be finishing up as our stim pack comes on through. So stim pack's about halfway done at the moment, and just going to be seeing again the Reaper and a couple of Hellions continue to make their way out to the left-hand side. Going to find a couple of Creep Tumors to start us off with. Again, these extractors are going to finish, so all of this getting done. Hatchery finishes up into a lair. And yeah, the Reaper and 2 Hellions still kind of pushing around on this bottom side to see if they can get in and make a move or so. Stimpak is going to be finishing from Clem shortly. I'm just going to be seeing 14 lings, Baneling speed. Real nice passive little opener, huh? Biggest thing here is obviously Clem only goes for 2 Hellions, so he's gone very quickly into the bio behind this and really not taking as much map control, and that's why you're not seeing too much happen either. You know, there's been very limited amount of creep tumors you can get rid of. You don't have that much power to run by at all, so it has just been kind of, you know, you're just kind of sat back, and this is the first moment you're really seeing Clem really aiming to get out onto the map as he'll kill off this Overlord and should be able to lift up those Marines and continue to move out if you'd like to. There's a Ling counterattack already set up though, and Clem's wall off is not completed, so these Lings are going to get straight in no matter what. Clem's going to turn it around, so this drop's not going to get in at all, and that is not a fun time for somebody to lag out. Who's it going to be? Predictions? Boom. Jesus. A summary. A summary of the situation. Yeah, nice timing. We just go when we drop. Yeah, we should be. Good guy, Roddy. Always standing up for people. Alright, we're good. And away we go. Just going to be seeing our Lings going in. A couple SCVs going down. Just going to be having the Marines pulling back to deal with this. I mean, obviously the Lings trying to maximize their damage. 5 workers. It's 5 workers and forcing Clem to come back home instead of being aggressive on the map. So you're forcing the fight over here, which means there's less opportunity for Clem elsewhere. There's another run by already set up from Reynor up to the top. So he's all ready for round 2 to kind of arrive. This wall is still not completed. Maybe that's just what Reynor wants to take advantage of. Nope, he's just going to morph Banelings. Okay, well, as Clem comes across the map, Reynor is going to have the Ling Baneling count growing. So we've seen our Marines coming forward, and these couple Queens in some trouble right away. First one goes down, second Queen picked up as well. 3 Queens, well, doesn't quite get it. There we go. Third Queen goes down as well as we stim up this ramp, and I see these few Lings getting picked away at. A couple Overlords going down as well, and we do stim up towards the main base as these additional Queens continue to fall. Lings are all dropping down, and, well, this is obviously a counterattack from Reynor at the same time, so Clem gets in over here, but this Reynor counterattack is starting to deal serious damage, so this is getting to the point of being all in on either side. What's really important for Clem is he survives with units after the Banelings, because if you can do that, you can probably clean up all the Lings that spawn out after this point. As you can see, Clem is on a much better work account as well. Reynor's morphing in a few more Banelings, but overall, Clem's going to come out of this ahead 10 SCVs in a much better spot. He's going to kill this hatchery for sure. Right as he go from there, he's going to run up into the main base, where a couple of drones maybe get caught. He's going to start running in now. I mean, there's only 3 Banelings running at this, and Reynor knows that this one's over. Clem's going to take it, and we're going to be tied up too. Let's take this away as we have in the upper left-hand side. Our final map of this series. It's only right that Clem and Reynor go to 5 maps, right? It'd be so wrong if it didn't. Let's just be realistic here, is in the top left side. Our blue Zerg player from Clash is Reynor. And on the bottom right, our Red Terran. This Team Liquid's Clem. He's won a couple of these in a row. I don't think he wants to give this one up easily at all. I think he's I think Clem's quite eager to just be like, nope, this is my cup. He has won, put it this way, Clem has won 2 in a row. The one before that was the Harston victory, and then he won the 3 before that one as well. So Clem has won 5 of the last 6. And it's getting to, like, if you win this one, it's like getting to Hero Marine levels, winning 6 of the last 7 cups or something. It's a little crazy. The last time Reynor played in one of these was back in February. He did win that one. I believe that was the last time he played, in fact. He might have played in one more after. Did he play in one like the week after or something and Seoul? No, that was Katowice. Maybe he played in one the week before and he got knocked out. Oh yeah, he lost to Hero Marine in the finals that week. Yeah. And the Reynor Neeb finals was the epic one. Yeah. Ay. Clem has won 14 ESL Open Cup Europes. Hero Marine 26. Reynor has won 8. He was behind Showtime. He's won 9. And then there are a few other players who have one each. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. As we move out onto the map and SCV comes to look at what's going on. We'll see what Clem wants to do. If we want to triple CC this once again, if that's getting a bit too predictable, are we going to change it up a little bit? Gonna find out in a few moments' time. And this Reaper of Clem going to move across to the upper left side of the map. SCV going down through the center. Zergling speed building up from Reynor in the main base. Getting that ready to go. Reaper is going to show up to the top side as it's going to drop a grenade down. Drone takes a couple shots of damage, and again the fielding's just going to run in at that Reaper. It's going to turn back around, and again back and forth. We'll just continue. You see a third CC just setting up in the main. And again, the Reaper just moving around a little bit, trying to figure out exactly what is going on. Keep an eye on things. It's going to hop up into the main base, and the Lings do get a couple nipples off. Hello. A couple nibbles off on that Reaper, but nothing too major. Reaper continues to scout around, gets out of range. Keeping itself safe as the barracks number 2 starts up from Clem at home. So 3 CC into the 2 racks again. Looking pretty similar to what we've seen previously, of course. It was Reynor that really mixed it up last game with that aggressive kind of Ling run-by style that he just kept on committing into. As this time he does start an early lair on 2 bases. That's not something you see every day, and Clem's going to scout the natural. He's going to go up to scout the main, or at least try to. Reynor's doing a great job of deflecting that Reaper. Of course, you don't just want to give the Reaper up, because then you have no vision at all. What if it's roaches and you just don't know about it? Well, then you're in some serious trouble, right? The backs away back down to the bottom right-hand side. These couple of Hellions going to be standing there waiting for some Reaper back up, and as mentioned, looks exactly the same as the last game from Clem. Just the 2 Hellions moving straight into this bio army commitment. Going to get into those 2 medevacs and pressure on the map with those pretty much as soon as possible as this current seeming goal. Man, this is not a bad map to go low Hellion count on, because to be fair, there's very little you can do. You're either going to push here, where there's going to be queens, or you're going to rotate over here, by which time the Zerg knows you're rotating over there, and there's going to be queens there too, so it definitely isn't a bad map for that idea, and that might be why he chose 2 Hellions on Blackburn as well. I mean, this is not an uncommon build, but obviously, like, certain maps are still better than other maps for it, right? And especially maps where your Hellions are not going to be having as many opportunities to deny creep. Like 2,000 atmospheres, there's loads of directions to get your Hellions in and deny creep in, so you're probably not going to go 2 Hellions on that map. And Reaper and Hellions will move through the center as a couple of creep tumors out the front and get picked off. One of them, the other one is going to just finish up. Okay. Spire finishing up in the back of the natural here fairly shortly, as we do just see these couple of units of Clem backing it up a little bit. Now I'm going to start pressuring forwards as Hellions start to morph into Hellbats here. The Marines are going to come along with this, and such a cute little scan, just picking up a creep tumor right away, and now obviously going to start pushing up in towards the towards this Ling Queen sort of area, as we do see this hatchery taking a little shot or 2 of damage. All these Banes continue to be picked off as well. Just going to be seeing the Lings continue to run in at this. Marines running out of there. And we're just going to see the Lings looking for a full surround. Big grenade goes off. I don't really know what happened in this fight. I'm kind of just ran on through the Hellbats coming in, and then Ling Bane gets popped back. Kind of funky that he reintroduced the Hellbats this time, right? And the Hellions to go into Hellbats. It's a little different. Of course, fastest Spire from Reynor means he's about to have mutas up, and I mean, Clem's still making Marines. He shouldn't have too many issues with mutas, but it is going to be some pressure on the map right away from Reynor. And despite Clem going late engineering base, he's still going to have an upgrade lead in this game because of the build order choice that Reynor's using being so delayed on his own upgrades. Just trying to come back through. The Lings get turned around on the bottom side. Just gonna see our Marine stemming across to the right. We're just gonna get pushed away. Lings is gonna go jumping onto those rocks. I mean, with these meters out, obviously the main goal is to try and keep Clem from being able to attack you, buy time to make up that upgrade difference, etc. SCV's going down. I mean, you get a meter out of that, it's not so bad. But again, you're being kept at home. Don't think Clem wants to attack just yet, but when he hits 1-1, he'd love to be on the map and in a position to at least try and force a fight. Push up through the center. Pushing over to the left hand side. The meters are going to continue running across. So, I mean, this is kind of where Clem wants to be. 1-1 done. Yeah, decent position. No combat shields yet, though. Definitely makes it a little bit problematic as our meters come on through. Going to try and get in on top of this Marine medevac force. On the center, we do see this over. We're going to take a few shots, and it's going to be having the meters. Going to eat a Widow Mine. Second Widow Mine goes down as well. Just going to be seeing the meters continue to get taken down, and everything just going to be pushed back. Here comes Reynor now trying to fight through the center. Widow Mines do okay initially. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, they're only doing okay because they didn't hit the Terran army. They didn't really hit much Zerg either. I mean, Clem is just going to take this fight with 1-1. Reynor finished 1-1 as this fight is ending, and there was just Marines wailing away at this all this time. And push on forward, our Marines continuing through, and this is just going to be the Banes continuing forward as well. I mean, just trying to jump in on top of this. The rest of our Banes continue to be picked away at, and I think Reynor just doesn't have enough to hold on right now. The Baneling count is really low. Widowmine is actually going to get a decent shot as well, and that's more Banelings cleaned up as Clem keeps on pushing through, looking to keep his winning streak up, and these ESL Open Cups. Our Bio Army continues to come on in. Muta's still trying to fight. Hellbat's going down. Hatcher on this left-hand side being picked away at. A Widowmine or two getting picked off in the center as Clem is now going to have reinforcements being chipped away at. And that's obviously a strategy to try and buy time here from Reynor, who keeps that hatch alive. Don't tell me that hatchery survives, because that would be incredible. It's so low. These two Marauders could turn around and hit it. They do not. Clem still rallying through the center of the map. Transfusion goes off this hatch then. Has to keep on mining, as that could have been just a game-ending moment from Clem. It isn't just yet. Reynor keeps it going, he keeps it alive, but he's under heavy pressure. He cannot give up any space on this base, otherwise we're going to see that base going down, and then we will see a serious amount of trouble. It's going to be seeing a few more units unloading once again, getting ready to push forward once more. This army of Clem going to come on through. Banes, Mutas coming on forwards. A couple Widow Mines get burrowed up. Gonna see the rest of our Marines continue to pull back. Lings and Banes continue to come through. Just gonna see our Bioforce still looking good. Looks as though we're gonna see these units just not having enough power in them on themselves. There's no Banelings left over, and this is gonna be the moment where Clem breaks on through here. And Reynor tries to set Widow Mines off on the Terran army. It does okay, but not enough. And Clem will win it out 3-2 at the end of the day. GG's.